So when most people think about learning to code, they picture this smooth, exciting journey, right? You pick a language, you watch a few tutorials, you maybe even take a boot camp or online course, and boom, you have your certification, you're a developer. Congratulations. Well, the truth is, learning to code is really nothing like that. And there are some things that nobody really tells you that you actually should be aware of. So in this video, I want to break down the truth about learning to code, what that journey looks like, the stuff that nobody really talks about, and if you've ever felt like you shouldn't be doing this, or you're not good enough, or you've lost your confidence, then this is going to be the perfect video for you. So the first thing that no one really tells you on that journey to learn code is that it's better to be stubborn than the smartest person in the room. So I remember when I first started to code and I thought I had to be a genius, right? People could just stare at a screen for hours on end and instantly have a good understanding of what's going on. But the truth is, most developers aren't always the smartest. In fact, they're the ones that refuse to quit. You're going to hit walls, you're going to write code that breaks, and you have no clue why. And in that moment, it's really going to be up to you to make sure that you tap into being persistent, because you may not be intelligent enough to initially understand why you're getting that error. You see how being persistent and not giving up can supersede being the smartest person, especially if you don't have a good understanding of why this code isn't working. So if you're willing to go to Google and find an answer, or use Chat GPT or some other online forum, then you're in the right path to actually becoming a developer, because a lot of the work you're going to be doing is problem solving, not necessarily knowing exactly how to solve every issue that you come across. So if you've ever felt this way, I'm not smart enough, or I'm not good enough for this, or I should just quit, I should stop wasting my time. Look, you don't need to be a genius to do this. You just got to have some grit, and you've got to be willing to roll your sleeves up and actually get the work and persevere through whatever issue or whatever bug that you have going on. The second thing I want to tell you, so that you'll be prepared for your journey in learning code, is that feeling lost is normal. Look, no one is going to tell you this, but feeling overwhelmed, that never really goes away. You're going to always feel that way. You can learn how to manage it better, you know how to work through it, but you're going to always feel overwhelmed. You'll open up a project sometimes and don't remember exactly what it is, and it'll look like a brand new language to you, and it's probably just JavaScript. So look, I can remember the first time I opened up a repo on GitHub, and there were folders inside of folders and config files that I didn't recognize, and code that didn't look like how I write code. So I thought it was wrong, or I had no clue how to understand it. And it was really overwhelming. I absolutely felt lost. And I really thought that I wasn't cut out to do this, to be 100% honest with you. But here's the truth: every developer at some point in their journey is going to feel that way. The difference is, experienced developers don't necessarily panic in those scenarios when they feel lost. They just slow down, take the time, break it down into smaller code snippets, if you will, and they work through the issue until they actually resolve the concern and they have a working application. Wherein the beginners like myself would have walked away from it, gave up, quit, said I'm not cut out for it, and found something else to do. That's not the mentality to have. You're going to always feel overwhelmed and lost. You just got to know how to manage it. The third truth that I want to share with you is that coding progress is very sneaky. You'll spend weeks thinking you're not learning to do anything, but then all of a sudden, one day, everything clicks. You catch yourself explaining a concept to a friend and realize, wait, a few months ago, I didn't have an understanding of what that was, but I just articulated fairly well, and you understood it. And hey, I was actually right for a change. Or you open an older project, look at the code and think, wow, I actually understand what's going on with this now, wherein before I had no clue. That's typically how progress shows up. It's not day to day, but it's going to come in those little breakthroughs, or in those moments when you take a step away and you realize that, hey, I actually do recognize this pattern, or I can explain this pattern. That's typically how that progress shows up. It's not going to be immediate as it would be with a traditional learning path, where you're taking a multiple choice quiz, or you're doing a fill in the blank answer and then you all of a sudden know it. No, it's going to look a little different in the coding space. You have to be mentally prepared for that, because that's all a part of the journey. So don't measure yourself by how smart you feel today. Measure yourself by how far you've come compared to where you were before, and how much time you've actually put into your journey in learning the code. So look, here's the truth about learning the code that people just aren't going to tell you. You don't need to be the smartest person in order to learn code, but you do have to be stubborn and willing to persevere. feeling lost is normal. This doesn't click for everyone immediately. You have to be willing to be patient and show up every day and find other ways to give yourself that self gratification. Otherwise, you're going to allow that feeling of feeling lost to supersede your ability to learn, and you're going to quit altogether. And finally, progress can be invisible. It's sometimes it just shows up all of a sudden without notice. So if you're watching this and you feel stuck, I promise you're not broken. Don't give up. You're just on the same path that every other developer has taken. The only difference is that you have to continue going because that's what they did. And if you find yourself stopping and not going back to it, then hey, maybe this just wasn't the right time for you to learn. So the next time you hit a wall, don't think I'm not good enough. Think this is the process and this is how I grow. So I appreciate you hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know some of the struggles that you had in the comment section early on in your developer or your learning the code journey. I'd love to hear about it. If you enjoyed the video, give me a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.